G'day, legends. So news has come out of Sean O'Malley going on the brand new independent Ariel Helwani show, and he's calling for a rematch against Merab. We're going to be talking about that, get a reaction from Merab. We're also going to give our thoughts on Umar and, the chances of that actually happening in the future. So there's a lot of points that I want to cover in this one. And like Grant Dawson getting into his wife on a Saturday night, let us get into this.
Thing is, she's got a dump truck you could bounce a quarter off of.
Firstly, it was Sean O'Malley kicking all of this off. So let's quickly check out that clip from the Ariel Helwani show.
Give me Miami. That's what I want next. I'm just trying to put this out there into the universe.
Realistically, when could you fight again?
I'm saying March or April. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing everything I can do to get back in there. But, I want to make that walk again, and I want Merab next. I know I'm better than him. I need to right that wrong. I think Miami would just be.
There we go. So firstly, let's talk about the timing. The timing that Sean O'Malley has gone for in this little clip of proposing his rematch is March, which does clash with the holy period of Ramadan, which gives the UFC a built-in excuse for why the true number one contender, Deiveson Figueiredo, was it? Oh, we're forgetting about Deiveson Figueiredo because he hasn't done enough at bantamweight. Okay. Even though Hamzat's going to get a shot if he beats Robert Whittaker. Right. Sorry. Because they're going to forget about the true number one contender, Umar Nurmagomedov. But an excuse is an excuse. Honestly, that is all the UFC needs. If they can just say that Umar wasn't ready for March, so they had to go with Sean, that is enough for the UFC. That little sentence right there is enough to pump out through all their talking heads. DC, Bisping, Chael Sonnen, that is perfect for them. A nice digestible line. We would have gone with Umar, but he just wasn't ready. Umar is definitely the next one in line. So the timing that Sean O'Malley is going for right there is really, really nice. Number two, the second thing is, Merab wants it, right? Merab responded directly to Sean O'Malley, calling for a match in a tweet that is not exactly hard to read into here. Merab said, "Let's go. I will try not to kiss you this time." Now, why does Merab love this fight? It's the exact same reason that Sean O'Malley loved the Cheeto fight instead of the Merab fight when Sean had the belt. It's the exact same reason that John Jones loves the Stipe fight instead of the Tom Aspinall fight. For Merab Dvalishvili, it is way easier to fight Sean O'Malley again than to fight Umar, because Umar has a very good chance of beating Merab. Umar is probably going to beat Merab, right? So why wouldn't Merab want to sit out when he can wait? He can enjoy Christmas, do his weight cut, and then get back in there against Sean O'Malley and claim a pretty easy payday for himself. The other reason that Merab would be happy for this to happen is because Merab is kind of angry at Umar, maybe a little bit jealous of him. Umar has had a fairly quick run up to the title, while Merab himself, he had to get like a 10-fight win streak or something together, taking on anyone that the UFC could absolutely think of again and again and again. Merab really had to grind his way through the rankings. Whereas Umar, I believe he got to fight Corey Sandhagen when Umar was coming in at ranked number 8th or 11th. Or Umar didn't have to grind through the rankings the way that Merab did. So I think Merab's pretty jealous about that. So he's kind of happy to just let Umar sit and chill out for a bit while he goes and gets the easy payday against Sean O'Malley. Now, the next point that I wanted to touch on is something that I can already hear people screaming about and complaining about, and that's something I agree with as well. It's the question of, does Sean O'Malley deserve it? He's coming off one title defense against a, let's face it, a fake contender. Absolutely not. He does not deserve it. I cannot stress that enough when we talk about this later in the live streams and I talk about the percentage of this actually happening. I cannot stress enough that Sean O'Malley does not deserve this at all. However, once again, the UFC spin machine is there to pump out a narrative. And when you look at the actual scorecards of UFC 306, when you go back to the night of Noche, the judges were one round away from giving Sean O'Malley that fight. Two judges. One of them was Sal D'Amato, the worst judge in MMA history. Two judges. One of them was Sal D'Amato, the worst judge in MMA history. But nevertheless, two judges gave the third and the fifth round to Sean O'Malley. And just for reference, when we were watching it live, I gave the first round to Sean O'Malley. So, the UFC, they can pump out a narrative that it was a much closer fight when you go back and look at it, and use that to justify a rematch. Not only the fact that Umar will not be available because of Ramadan, This is a very, very easy sell for the UFC. Now, saying that Sean O'Malley deserves a rematch because of how close his fight with Merab was on paper is going to make Sean Strickland vomit into his own crate of ammo.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's all good, dude.
Another point that brings me to whether or not Sean O'Malley would actually get this rematch is the state of the UFC right now, right? Look, Sean Strickland doesn't play ball with the UFC media team, the marketing team. Let's face it, it's the executives up at Disney, right? And that's why Sean Strickland doesn't get an instant rematch. But you know who does? Israel Adesanya, coming off a loss with only one title defense under his belt in his new reign. Instant title shot against Dricus du Plessis. All the UFC needed was just a little excuse, and Izzy got a title shot. Then, of course, you get Stipe Miocic coming off a loss 4 fucking years ago, and he's getting a fight to help prop up John Jones's legacy so the UFC can build this narrative about how we have the Michael Jordan of MMA to battle against Francis Ngannou should he prove to be one of the best MMA fighters of all time. We could say that Francis was ducking the greatest of all time. That's the only reason that Stipe is getting this title shot. And Tom Aspinall, the defending interim champion, isn't. Again, Marlon Cheeto Vera, because he had one win over Sean O'Malley when he blew out the kid's leg. Well, he didn't blow his leg out, but you know what I mean. Hurt that nerve that runs up the leg. That was undeserved. And that is why that got put together. When you are watching the UFC this year, you are asking yourself, who is going to generate the most money for the UFC? And that is how you are picking what the next title shot is going to be. The reason that Khalil got a title shot and they made sure to pre-book Magomed Ankalaev is because a punch-up between Khalil Roundtree and Alex Pereira is more interesting than a Magomed Ankalaev fight. This is the TKO era. This is not the best versus the best era. And what sells more, right? If you're the UFC executives, what sells more? Umar versus Merab, or Sean O'Malley versus Merab in a rematch, and then the winner of that fight versus Umar. Just by that storyline alone, you get 2 pay-per-views out of it, which is also something that the UFC loves to do. It loves to push storylines and milk everything they can. Like squeeze every little bit of story that they can. That's why Diaz is getting yet another fight on a pay-per-view. They're all about squeezing the juice out of every single fighter. And if you can do a Sean O'Malley rematch with Merab and put Umar on ice for just 6 months, you buy yourself 6 months of time down the storytelling's timeline, which the UFC absolutely love. So, do I think that Sean O'Malley deserves a title shot? No, I don't. Do I think that Sean O'Malley will get a rematch? I honestly believe there is about an 70 or 80% chance of that happening because the timelines match up, the excuses are there, the storylines is there. You know, I'm going to say there's an 80% chance that Sean O'Malley gets a rematch against Merab Dvalishvili.
This is #1 bullshit.
Now, lastly, before we sign off for the day, yesterday I made a video about Balal Muhammad getting absolutely 10-8'd by almost the entire MMA community, and a legend of the channel, Mo, pointed out that Balal did clap back, but I didn't drop it in yesterday's video. So, Balal got on his defense and started swinging back against the 10-8, and he pointed out that if anybody is a crotch sniffer, it's Ilya Tapuria by just dropping this hilarious meme, and that it was Shavkat Rakhmonov that actually came up with the joke of he's never finished a man or a woman, and Ilya Tapuria simply copied it like he's copied everything else in his entire career. Good on Balal for sticking up for himself. I don't know if it quite won the battle of the words back, but at least it didn't just roll over and take it. He's not John Jones. That is it for today. Let me know down there in the comments, what do you think is the percentage likeliness of Sean O'Malley getting an instant rematch against Merab Dvalishvili? I think it's about 80%. Put it down there in the comments. If this is your first time here, g'day. I try and make an MMA video every single working day of the week. Plus, I try and go live 3 times a week. We have all kinds of fun debates. If you want to check them out, you can click on the live tab in the channel. You can also hit the subscription button and the notification bell to know when I go live. If you're already on board with the channel, you know what to do, boys. Hit that like button to help this channel grow. Always smash that like button. And until then, you guys have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.